What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Nate Diaz chokes out Logan Paul lookalike. Stockton superstar Nate Diaz was recently seen causing quite a ruckus at a boxing event in New Orleans heading into the weekend. On the heels of news surfacing that Diaz will box Jake Paul, the former UFC fighter was seen at a boxing event supporting his friend and teammate Chris Avila. Fight fans may remember Avila from his brief stint with the UFC. However, nowadays, Avila seems to have found a home for himself inside the boxing ring. While sitting ringside, Diaz was seen throwing a water bottle at another spectator sitting behind him, sparking a full-blown altercation that security was forced to break up. After the event, Diaz was then filmed on camera outside the event, where he choked a Logan Paul lookalike out cold. So far, Diaz has yet to give his thoughts on the situation. However, UFC President Dana White was actually on camera when he was shown the video. White, like many, initially seemed to think that Diaz had choked out Logan Paul.
Is that Logan Paul? He knocked him out.
Oh, he knocked him out.
Whoever that is, he knocked him out.
He choked him out.
You sure that's not Logan?
That's not Logan. Look, watch when he goes in.
Bounced like a
Watch.
basketball.
Conor McGregor was also quick to chime in with his reaction on Twitter, joking in a pair of deleted tweets that Diaz was on a rampage after being seen on camera throwing the water bottle. McGregor also praised Diaz for his knee in the clinch while he had the guillotine. McGregor didn't stop there, however. He also stated that he would mince Diaz and any other potential opponents in the clinch these days. Although the Logan Paul lookalike that was choked unconscious was eager to call Diaz out, saying that he would knock the former UFC star out, Jake Paul decided to have a laugh at the situation, filming a mock self-defense video showing people what to do if a quote-unquote homeless Stockton man tries to come at you in the streets.
Hey guys, welcome back to JakeSelfDefense.com. Today we're going to be teaching you what to do if you see a homeless Stockton man trying to come at you in the middle of the streets. Now, if you look anything like a Paul brother, keep your eyes peeled because the streets are hot.
No word on whether or not Diaz will be facing any sort of legal repercussions over the incident. As some have alleged, he could find himself on the receiving end of a lawsuit given the cut to the back of the head and bruises around the neck that the man sustained in the incident. On the flip side, others have pointed out that Diaz could be looking to claim self-defense in the matter given that a melee had already begun at the time he locked in the guillotine. With Diaz versus Paul on the horizon in early August, things seem like they will continue to heat up ahead of fight night. Daniel Cormier names the one fighter Alex Pereira should avoid. On the heels of Alex Pereira's shocking first-round knockout loss to the last stylebender, Israel Adesanya, it was revealed that the former two-division Glory kickboxing champ would be moving up to 205 in pursuit of another title. While many speculated that Pereira was waving the white flag in regard to the weight cut to 185, he made sure to let fans know that he's never had problems making weight in his life. Despite that, his immediate future seems to be at 205 pounds. Given that he'll no longer be cutting so much weight, many believe he'll look even fresher and more dominant than ever before. With potential fights against top contenders like Jan Blachowicz on the horizon for Pereira, Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier believes there's one fight he needs to avoid at all costs.
I think that's the only one at 205 that you want to avoid right now is Ankalaev because Ankalaev can wrestle. And we saw that in the fight against Jan Blachowicz where he took him down for the last 3 rounds.
As Cormier was quick to point out, there are very few elite wrestlers atop the light heavyweight division. While Pereira would have faced a who's who of wrestling heavy contenders at 185 pounds like Khamzat Chimaev and Marvin Vettori, the light heavyweight division seems to have contenders who will be more inclined to stand and trade. With his move to 205 on the horizon, who do you want to see him fight first? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. UFC booking roundup and contract announcement. 3 new fights were added to upcoming cards, and without further ado, let's jump right in. First up on the calendar, we have a fight between the one and only Jim Miller and Ludovic Klein. The fight will see Miller look to return to the win column after having a 3-fight win streak snapped by Alexander Hernandez back in February. On the flip side, Klein, who recently fought to a draw with Jai Herbert last month, will be looking to swing momentum back in his favor. Next up, we have a clash between Ariana Lipski and Melissa Gatto on July 1st, which will take place on the recently announced Sean Strickland vs. Abus Magomedov card. The fight will see Lipski look to build on the momentum from a win over JJ Aldrich back in March. On the flip side, Gatto will be looking to bounce back from her first professional loss last year. Also on the recently announced July 1st card, Joe Anderson Brito will fight Hussein Ashkabov in a fight that will see Brito look to build on his 2-fight win streak, while Ashkabov will look to bounce back from the first loss of his professional career. Last but certainly not least, we have news of Aries Fighting Championship flyweight champion Ivana Petrovic signing with the UFC. So far, there's been no word yet on who she could potentially wind up fighting in her debut. Stay tuned for updates as they become available. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Sean O'Malley gives honest opinion on Bryce Mitchell. While Sugar Sean O'Malley awaits his crack at the 135-pound title, he's managed to keep his name in the headlines thanks to his online presence and steady stream of podcasts. Recently, O'Malley brought up featherweight Bryce Mitchell, who has publicly thrown his support behind a number of outlandish conspiracy theories ranging from the US government's supposed involvement in mass shootings to flat Earth. O'Malley weighed in on a recent episode of the Bro Malley podcast, reading off a comment Mitchell left on Instagram where he explained how, if the Earth is flat, water stays in place.
Bryce Mitchell is 100% set that the Earth is flat. Here we got a comment. I'm 200-foot tall ice wall, brother. Look up the pic there on Google. Antarctica ain't a continent. It's an ice wall that surrounds us, brother. That's why it's illegal to travel to Antarctica. There is no South Pole.
So far, no response yet from Mitchell. However, he has been eager to debate his position in the past, calling out Joe Rogan to debate the matter with him on a public platform. On May 6th, he will look to bounce back from the first loss of his professional career, when he steps into the octagon against Movsar Evloev at UFC 288. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have UFC fighter Conor McGregor finally breaking silence on the Michael Chandler fight. During a recent interview with Insider Fighting, Conor said this.
You look good. When are you back?
Sometime end of summer.
End of summer. You're the man. Thank you. Thanks, man.
As of right now, there are no reports on Conor McGregor entering the USADA pool. Do you think Conor McGregor will fight at the end of the summer? Conor McGregor reflects on victory over Donald Cerrone 3 years later. To date, the last win on Conor McGregor's record remains a UFC 246 TKO victory over Donald Cerrone in 2020. After taking over a year off following his fourth-round submission loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, the Irish superstar returned to the octagon for a welterweight bout against Cerrone. When the two touched gloves, it quickly became apparent that Cerrone was in trouble. As the pair clinched, McGregor landed some unique shoulder strikes, damaging the nose and eye socket of Cowboy. Although the veteran tried to answer back with a big head kick, McGregor quickly countered with one of his own, rocking Cerrone before forcing a stoppage with a barrage of strikes. This week, McGregor took to Twitter, reflecting on the unique clinch striking that damaged Cerrone early on. So far, no word yet as to when McGregor will return to the octagon. Following the completion of filming The Ultimate Fighter, McGregor made a surprise appearance on the MMA Hour where he indicated he wanted to iron out the details of his return sooner rather than later. According to McGregor, he was meeting with USADA to figure out his path to eligibility. However, the testing agency then came out and said no such meeting was scheduled. Since then, the two sides have remained at an impasse, with UFC President Dana White stating he has no involvement in the matter. Thanks so much for joining us today. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.